start with, I'm going to measure the bottom of this tank, see how wide it is, because I'm going to make an adapter for my transmission jack, and see if I can get this to set down in it and cradle it a little bit since it is so full. Looks like somewhere around 8 inches. So if I go 9 inches there, I think I should be able to cradle the tank just a little bit. So I'm going to make the inside width of my adapter 9 inches, I think. We'll try that and see how that works for us. Let's go ahead and weld that up. Alright, so here's my Harbor Freight. It's a Pittsburgh 800-pound low-lift transmission jack that I bought the other day. Reviews on it seem to be pretty good. It's adjustable forward and back, left and right. I bought this because that fuel tank is full, and I don't want to fight that tank coming out with a regular jack and a piece of plywood like I did in the past. And also, the input bearing on that transmission has pretty good whine to it because it ran low on fluid at some point from the output shaft seal leaking. So I'm going to pull the transmission at some point and get that fixed. So I bought a transmission jack. This will do just fine for me and the couple times I'm actually going to use it. Either way, it's cheaper than paying a shop to do this work. So this is what I've come up with for an adapter for it. I got these 2 pieces of angle that I bought at my local home center, and then a couple pieces of flat stock. I think it's all 1/8 inch material here. I set the pieces of angle on the flat stock to make just kind of a holder, and I spaced between the pieces of angle is 9 inches. So I'm just going to tack weld these together. I don't want them to be super permanent. I'll probably take these back apart at some point and use this material for something else, because I don't plan on doing this a whole bunch of times. So I'm just going to put a couple tacks to hold it all together, and then I will drill a couple holes in each of these plates so that I can mount it and bolt it down to the transmission jack. I'll take these out and I will measure the distance between them. And I'll drill holes in those plates so I can mount those directly to the jack, and then we should have a pretty good setup for pulling that tank out. So the welder I'll be using is this Amoco Power ARC 160D, little DC inverter welder. Powered up, and you can see what we have here. It'll work off of 120, 230, it doesn't care. It has an adapter cord for whichever. You see a little adapter cord there to get down to 120, or it has the full size 230 volt. I forgot, is it 50 amp plug, I think. And I'm running it off of a non-dedicated 15 amp circuit because that's what I have available out here. But it should work for just tacking stuff together. I'm going to set it to about 80 amps, I think, to start. We'll try that. I'll be running a 3/32 6013 rod just because that's what I have. And I'm just tacking stuff together, so what I'm using really doesn't matter all that much because I don't plan on it being permanent. I'll cut these out later on whenever I go to reuse this material anyway. So yeah, let's get started. Be an Amazon link down in the description for this welder or its equivalent. Alright, we'll try this. So to start off, I'm just going to take a flap disc and hit a couple spots where I'm going to put these tack welds. Very cheap angle grinder. And I don't remember which brand flap disc this is that I bought. Do that on this other side too. I think I'm going to do my tack weld on the outside joint, just to make it easier to cut off without tearing up the rest of the material. Okay, done with that for now. Hopefully you're able to see what I'm doing here. For a welding helmet, I'm using this Antra, I guess that's how you say that, auto darkening.
welding helmet. It's really cheap. I think it was like $35 or $40. Goes with the theme of the welder, right? But I'd say that welder is a better machine than I am a welder any day. And unless I start doing a lot more welding than I do now, I imagine that's going to stand true for quite a while. That's adjustable sensitivity and for darkness. And then how fast it reacts. You can adjust that as well. I don't know if you can see any of that. Here's your darkness adjustment here. You can set it up for grind. We just run on the grinder. And then it'll go all the way up to shade 13, which we'll be using for stick welding. I've done this in a previous video where I've tested it, look it up at the sun. I could see it going dark there. I don't know if you can see. It goes dark before I ever get up that high. But there'll be an Amazon link in the description for this helmet as well, if you're interested. Like I said, I'm not a welder by any means. I just like to tinker once in a while. So this gets me what I need to do done. And I'll be using these black Stallion. There'll be an Amazon link in the description for these as well. See, they're not very well used. I don't use a whole lot. That'll probably do. Do the same thing over here. Just a tack. I don't know if you can read that or not, but these are the bolts that came with the jack. I measure 9.77 millimeters. I bet you it's a 10 millimeter bolt. I'm assuming it's metric. Let's see. I think that's 3/8. Alright, so we're just going to use this. I'm going to start off small, step it up, and then I'll waller it out a little bit to make those bolts fit nice and loose when I assemble it. Okay, so the drill I'm going to be using is Milwaukee 12 volt fuel. It's the drill driver and hammer drill. It's a pretty handy little drill. Should probably grab a punch. What do you think? So I'll be using the Starrett 18C automatic center punch. Amazon link down in the description. I had a Harbor Freight one of these. It broke and got a Starrett as a replacement. So let's go ahead and punch each one of these so we have a good starting point for our drill bit. Okay, for an oil, I'm just going to use some liquid wrench lubricating oil. It'll work for this. See my technique for making that hole a little bit bigger? Alright, now that we've got our brackets tacked together and our holes drilled, let's go ahead and mount it to the transmission jack. Yeah. Looks like a 17 millimeter wrench. Fits these pretty well. You can see that. 17 millimeters Craftsman ratcheting wrench. They're straight. You just flip them over to reverse it. Pretty nice wrench set. I got it standard and metric. If they're on Amazon, I'll throw an Amazon link down in the description. Okay, let's give these a little snug. Okay. So that's our final result with our adapter mounted to our transmission jack. Let's go try it out. I know I said I plan on reusing this metal for other projects, but I changed my mind. I went ahead and threw some more welds on there and painted it up. So I'll have them for next time. Whether it's this truck or another vehicle, I'm sure it's not the last time I have to drop the tank in something. And they worked out really, really well on that jack, so I'm gonna keep them around for a while. Thanks for watching.